Starter hooked up. We decided to do that outside the car. We have faith in that starter. You have any faith in the starter, it's 1,000 years old. We have brand new ones that won't work.
That's true. That's true.
You ever do that? Yeah.
Yep.
I put 6 of them in a row and they're all bad. And I go, who's rebuilding these? One of the things that we deal with a lot is remanufactured parts, because you have to get a remanufactured starter if you want it to look right. Now, we tried to collect as many of the originals, send them out, have them built here locally where we know they're being done right, but we're also at the mercy of the parts store. And I cannot tell you how many starters, how many alternators, how many distributors we've put in, plucked them right back out again and tried another one.
Boy, Mark is right about this. I have personally installed 5 alternators in a row trying to get one that works.
All right, I have faith in you. Push the button.
Push
the magic button.
Push.
Crank it. Yeah.
Sweet.
It actually sounds like it has compression.
Yeah?
So it actually cranks over. So
I don't believe it.
I will say that when Doug first hooked the battery up a little bit ago, the 4-way flashers were working. I'll show you. I couldn't believe it. Somebody had hit the 4-way flasher button.
At some point.
Setting since at least the 70s.
Go figure.
What are the 3 things that we need to make an internal combustion engine run? Royal, number 1.
Compression.
Dougie, number 2.
Fuel. Spark.
Look at these guys. Haven't missed a beat. Let's crank it over and see if that dilapidated coil has any spark to it.
So Mark wanted to get this thing running. First thing you do is check the oil. Make sure it's got some fluids in it. It was full, it was a little dirty. We checked that off the list.
So after checking the oil level in the engine, we went on to the wiring to the coil, and strangely, the coil wires were reversed. So the positive wire from the coil was on the negative side. The negative wire was on the positive side.
So once the guys had the wiring corrected on this thing, again, this is all old stuff, so keeping it very simple, my theory was, let's just hot wire it. Hot wiring is simple. It's not like in the movies where you rip something out of the dash and touch 2 wires together. I don't know how to do that. In this case, we take a jumper wire to go from the positive side of the battery over to the positive side of the coil. That's the same as having the key in the on position with the battery connected. All right, you ready to crank this mother humper over? So, do we have power over there or to the points? Go ahead and check it out.
We have power.
It does. It does. After that, you crank the engine over, which will open and break the points, and that'll let us know if we have a live spark.
Ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let's add some. Let's see what we got. We got spark. Oh, I love fuel. I love fuel. Hook
Yes,
that wire
you
up.
do.
You want some gas on that? I'm just kidding. Big baby.
Sparks and gas. So this part always scares me when we start pouring the fuel in the carburetor. Mark gets a little crazy with the fuel. A little bit is good, but more is better. So obviously you see what happens with that.
There it is. We got a little bit of chug-a-chug. Let's pour some more fuel in that mother humper. I like fuel. You like fuel?
Royal's right. Mark loves the primer fuel. This is why he almost burned down the house on 14th Street.
There is truth to this story. I was terrified. I ran, not my problem. I still got a life to live, right?
I like fuel.
I got faith in this old girl. Old Mopars never die. They just catch on fire.
Catch on fire.
Wouldn't be the first car we ever burned to the ground. Probably won't be the last. Let's try it. That's as close to crazy as you can get. Did it even fire?
Yes.
Right now, I don't think it has a lot of compression, and it's an awfully slow starter.
Yes. Yes.
Hear that? Got some valves hanging open still, probably because everything's dry. Probably not even pushing the lifters much. So the problem with the dry engine means it hasn't ran in a long time. There's no oil circulating throughout the engine. Yeah, there's some in the crankshaft. We checked that down in the oil pan. But what there's not is oil up between the piston rings and the piston and the cylinder wall. And it's that oil that causes the seal. All right, so if you don't have that in there helping with that, then you have very little or no compression. That's number 1. Number 2 is you also don't have lifters that are pumped up because there's nothing to pump them up yet. Not until it runs, not until the oil pump engages. So firing a dry engine is most difficult because you probably have very low compression and valves that aren't working the way they're supposed to. But it's okay, it's gaining, we're gaining.
Yeah.
We're gaining.